Okay, so nutrition myths debunked, what to actually believe. You don't have to believe me on this either. You can take your own, you can take what I say and then run with it with anything else that you learn. Okay, so I think one of the myths that have been debunked recently is that carbs make you fat, eating fat makes you fat, eating protein makes you fat. So the answer is kind of like yes and no, right? So eating one specific macronutrient isn't going to make you gain weight. It's not going to just automatically store body fat. So eating like a fatty steak isn't just going to automatically make you gain weight. The overall eating amount of total calories in a day from any macronutrient is what is going to make your body store fat. Okay, so it's not one specific thing that makes you gain weight. It's just an overall consumption of calories. So if you're overeating how many calories that your body needs every single day, then that's what causes your body to store fat. So it's not one specific thing there. Late night eating causes weight gain. So the truth is it's the total daily calories, not necessarily the timing that matters. So just like, let's say you eat 300 calories during the day and then you eat 1200 calories in one sitting at night. That isn't going to cause your body to gain weight if 1500 calories is your body in a calorie deficit. So it doesn't necessarily matter when you eat the calories, it just matters the total amount of calories you're eating in total. So just because you eat a certain amount of food past 8 p.m. doesn't mean it's automatically going to get stored as body fat. I think Oprah back in the day was the biggest reason why this even became a myth, because she said that she cut off eating foods at 8 p.m. and then she started losing weight. And so then so many women in like across America who watched Oprah started doing that, and then they all started losing weight. But it was because they stopped eating like an extra 300 to 500 calories a day, and it wasn't necessarily that they just weren't eating at night. So that's where that kind of probably stemmed from. So your body can only digest 30 grams of protein at a time. So this is a huge one, and your body can digest and absorb nearly all the protein that you eat, and nothing gets wasted. Hardly, like rarely, if ever, does your body ever waste protein. So where this kind of like myth stemmed from is muscle protein synthesis. So how your body can use protein to build muscle. That maxes out at about like 30 to 50 grams per meal, depending on your body size. And it's a lot higher than what people have thought. People have thought like it was anywhere between like 20 to 30 grams, but it's much, much higher than what research actually showed. And so spreading protein across like 3 to 5 meals can help maximize muscle growth. However, if you eat more than 50 grams of protein in a meal, that extra protein is still going to go towards energy, hormone regulations, and other functions in your body. So it's not just going to get wasted, it's going to get used. Protein plays a role in literally every single cell in your body. And so it's super important to get. It's not just for building muscle, it's for a lot of other functions in your body. So big key takeaway is you don't waste protein by eating more than 30 grams in one sitting. This one's kind of just like a silly one. Fresh produce is better than frozen. So it's not necessarily true. So frozen can actually be more nutritious in a lot of cases because they freeze it at peak ripeness. So that means when the fruit or the vegetable is like has the most nutrients in it, it freezes it there and then it ships it to the store. And so sometimes if you get some fresh produce in the store rather than frozen, it doesn't have as many nutrients in it if the fruit's not in season. So frozen can actually be more nutritious in a lot of cases if the fruit like is not in season. So there is that. Artificial sweeteners are bad for you, and this one drives me so nuts. Hold on, somebody just popped in. Okay, this one drives me nuts because I was an owner of a supplement company and people freaked out because we used stevia in our supplements or whatever. And so a lot of artificial sweeteners have been proven safe. There's no link to cancer or major diseases. It's helpful for weight management, and it can actually help you reach your goals a lot quicker and a lot easier. And then some people do have gut health concerns, but it is like overstated and it's dramatized and stuff like that. With typical, normal, healthy adults, artificial sweeteners are totally fine. That being said, everybody is an individual. So if a certain artificial sweetener bothers your gut or bothers your stomach when you drink it, then obviously don't drink that, right? So everybody's an individual. But the reason why people have are like scared about artificial sweeteners is because they'll do studies where they have rats and they just give the rats so much of these artificial sweeteners. And if a human were to eat that much artificial sweeteners in a day, then yeah, that's going to cause some negative health effects on that human. But that would be like the amount that they're giving these rats is like me eating an entire room full of artificial sweeteners in a day. And normally people don't have that much in a day. And anything in that amount, whether it's a healthy food like broccoli or something like that, is going to be negative, like it's going to have a negative impact on your health if you eat it in that amount. So I think the biggest thing is everything in moderation. Obviously, if you're drinking artificial sweeteners multiple times a day and you're drinking like only Diet Coke instead of water, and you're drinking like gallons of Diet Coke a day, then yeah, that's going to negatively affect your health. But the amount of artificial sweeteners that go into sweetening like supplements or drinks or stuff like that is so small. Like it is the smallest little tiny amount, and it is so much better than like a full sugar drink or a protein shake that has sugar, that's sweetened with sugar instead of an artificial sweetener. But the studies are just so dramatized with the amount that they give the rats that it would be so hard for a human to have that much artificial sweetener in a day. So it kind of drives me nuts that people are so scared about artificial sweeteners, or they'll be like, oh, I'm not drinking that because it has stevia in it, or I'm not drinking that because it has sucralose. I'm like, I'm sure the alcohol drink that you drank over the weekend is way worse for you than that tiny little bit of sucralose that your body can totally digest just fine. That is my rant there. Okay, so another one, this is going to ruffle some feathers, I'm sure. Seed oils are toxic or unhealthy. The truth is that seed oils are safe. Canola oil, soybean, sunflower oil, and other seed oils are well studied and safe to consume in normal amounts. Same thing as everything else, everything in moderation. If you're having tons of seed oils, yeah, that's not going to be great for you, but a lot of food in high amounts are not going to be great for you. There's no evidence of toxicity. There can be anti-inflammatory benefits with omega-6 fats in seed oils, and they don't cause inflammation. And I think just the biggest thing and the overall takeaway is moderation is key. So it's not something that is so scary that you have to avoid and never eat again in your life, or ban that food because it has a seed oil in it. It's just have it in moderation and it'll be okay. Another thing is like an anabolic window. You must eat protein immediately after a workout. So the truth is an anabolic window is much longer than 30 minutes. It's typically like 24 to 48 hours after a workout, okay? So that is a lot longer than what a lot of bodybuilders have said and preached in the past. So what matters most is total daily protein intake. Are you hitting your protein goal every single day and getting enough protein in the day? And then also evenly spaced out protein meals. So kind of like I was mentioning earlier with the muscle protein synthesis, just try to have like anywhere between like 30 to 50 grams every 3 to 5 hours and you'll be fine. And that's like your max amount of like protein muscle synthesis that's how you can max that out. But eating protein within a few hours pre or post workout is plenty to support recovery. You don't have to like run home and have a protein shake. If you feel like you're kind of like digesting your breakfast, if you had a high protein breakfast during your workout, potatoes meowing in the back, she needs to get let out. So if you are digesting your breakfast and you're kind of like burping it up during your workout, then you know that your body has enough protein and you don't have to hurry and run home and get protein. Like your body's using that protein that you ate before your workout. So there is that. Okay, so overall takeaway with nutrition myths. If the fitness industry narrows out one individual ingredient, food or macronutrient, and demonize it, just second guess it. Be like, why are people harping so hard on artificial sweeteners? Why are people harping so hard on seed oils? Why are people harping so hard on sugar? It's like, be like, are they trying to sell me something? Are they trying to scare me away from eating a certain food? Are they trying to like cause any sort of weird feelings? There's just a lot of things that come from misinformation, trends, or outdated science. And so just ask somebody that you trust or research it yourself rather than taking it firsthand from Instagram on a video that's like meant to scare you. Also, context matters. Foods and nutrients aren't just like good and bad in isolation. It's an overall lifestyle and how you kind of act throughout your entire day that is going to make your lifestyle a healthy or unhealthy one. So if you're working out, if you are getting your steps in, if you're sleeping, if you're hitting your water goal, if you're trying to eat lots of whole foods, if you're trying to have fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, you're having a healthy diet. It's not just like if you have an overall healthy diet and then you have some seed oils, all of your diet is unhealthy now. It's just try to find something that is sustainable rather than being perfection or just focusing on perfection. And I would just would not fear any individual foods or ingredients. Look at the lifestyle and the diet as a whole rather than trying to demonize one certain or specific thing. Okay, that is basically it. Do you guys have any questions about any of that? Does anyone want to fight me on any of those?
So I have a question because I work out pretty late at night. That's the only time I'm able to go to the gym, and I'm not particularly hungry when I get home, so I'm kind of going to bed. Is that an issue with getting my protein in? I mean, in the morning for breakfast, I eat a pretty high protein breakfast. I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah, so if you're getting protein, if you're hitting your protein goal throughout the day, then it doesn't matter if you hit it like right after your workout, if you work out late at night. I think that's totally fine. It doesn't necessarily matter when you eat that protein, just it matters more that you hit your protein goal throughout the day on a consistent basis. So I think that is totally fine.
Okay.
Good question.
So one thing that I've kind of been told and I've heard is, you shouldn't eat right before you go to bed. And I have certain days where, maybe I have to work late and then I get to the gym and then by the time I'm eating, it's 9 o'clock. I'm trying to go to bed at like 10:30. So is that true? Is that a myth? You shouldn't eat right before you go to bed, or is that something I should kind of work on and try to find a way around?
So the only reason why I would ever say don't eat right before you go to bed is if you feel like it affects your sleep, because sleep is one of the most important things that you can do for your health. And so if you are tossing and turning because you feel like your stomach's digesting food or you're overly full or stuff like that, then that's when I would say maybe try to eat a little bit earlier and try to fit more calories earlier in throughout your day. However, if it's just from a specific or like a weight loss or like a fat loss goal perspective, then no, it doesn't necessarily matter if you eat that late at night. It does not matter at all. It just matters how much you eat throughout the day. But if it is keeping you up at night, then maybe consider eating a little bit earlier or stacking your calories. And then also another thing that can affect your sleep is having caffeine past 2 p.m. So I would cut that off, and some foods do have caffeine in it, like chocolate and stuff like that. So just be aware that if you are having chocolate at night, it might affect your sleep also.
Can you have too much protein?
No. I think, yeah, I don't think most people will consistently hit too much protein over time to make it a bad thing, like to have it negatively affect their health. Like the amount of protein that you would have to eat is a ton on a consistent basis. So like every once in a while, if you go over on your protein goal and you have a random day where you have like 200 grams of protein, you'll be fine. But if you're having like 200 grams of protein every single day and you're a 120-pound girl, then that's where it's going to be like, okay, maybe it's not the best for your digestion. I think the only reason why too much protein can be a little bit tricky is it does slow down your digestion a little bit. It takes more energy to digest that macronutrient, and so it can cause some like GI issues. So if you are running into that problem where you're like constipated or you're having a hard time digesting it, then I would try to prioritize more fiber in your diet too. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables to help with that digestion. But typically, no, you're not going to hit too much protein over time that it's like consistently enough that it's going to negatively affect your health. But yeah. I guess there might be certain cases if people eat only meat diets, but I don't think anybody here does that.
Yeah. So what do you think about like intermittent fasting then? You're probably not a fan.
So I personally don't like any diet trend, any specific diet plan. I think they're kind of silly. That being said, with intermittent fasting, if you naturally don't want to eat breakfast, then don't force yourself to eat breakfast. Like if you are not hungry in the morning when you wake up and you feel more hungry around 11 or 12, then just fast for breakfast and then eat around 11 or 12. And I wouldn't just call that intermittent fasting. I'd be like, that's how I eat. So I just don't like giving things labels or anything like that. But I think if you naturally like don't like eating past 6 p.m., then you don't have to force yourself to eat that way just to hit a certain thing or whatever. I think just listen to your natural body cues and be like, if you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't force yourself to eat. Unless of course we need you to hit your protein goal, then maybe we'll have to push you there a little bit. Any other questions? Does anybody need any relationship advice? Nobody's ever asked me any of that.
Oh God, yeah. How do you get one?
I don't know why anybody wouldn't ask me relationship advice. I'm 33 and not married, so it's
Doesn't matter, Kaylin.
Yeah, I just have one question about. I just have one question about relationships. That's how do you get one?
Oh, well, you see, I think you just have to find someone and date them. I don't know.
Best I can tell so far, it's based on how much you can bench press. So
oh, true. If you can bench press twice your body weight, you got it in the bag. So just work on your bench.
Okay.
See, but then I feel like you're intimidating if you can bench more than your weight.
Uh-oh. Hot take. Never mind, decrease your bench press.
No, here's a real legit question though.
Okay.
So I don't like do much because I just mind my own business, and I know I would increase my odds by like 1,000,000% if I left my home more.
Yeah.
So I work, go to the gym, ride the motorcycle. That's about it. But I know there's like, if a dude approached you at the gym, because I feel like that's my best chance. How would you want that done? Because I know I've seen it happen, right? I know people get together in the gym and like, mid-set, I'm not going to walk up and like, hey, how you doing? But like,
yeah.
Is there,
Here's the thing. If it were me, I would test the water for a few weeks. So I would walk up to them and be like, hey, are you using this equipment? And if they're like, no, and they're like not even open to like engaging in their body language, kind of seems like shut off and stuff, I would not approach that girl. I would not like interrupt her or whatever. But if she kind of like turns to you and is like, oh no, I'm not using it, go ahead and take it, and it's like she says a little bit more than what she needs to for you to say that or take that equipment, then I would like be like, okay, thank you, and then like walk away, take the equipment, and then maybe next time be like, oh, I see you here all the time. What are you working on or whatever? And see if she kind of like responds in that way and talks. And I wouldn't just like immediately walk up to her and be like, you're hot, I want to ask you out on the date. I would just kind of like test the water for a few weeks, and then sometimes a lot of girls will give you signs that they're interested, or maybe they'll even come up to you eventually once they know that like you're a person that's like possibly interested. So that's how I would approach it, just like slowly over time, but also just be very careful. You don't want to like crap where you eat, right? So I recommend in MMA gyms, Alexis probably knows, to not date anybody there, because like that's like your family, that's your team. Like you don't want to like dirty the water there to make it dramatic. So that's the only drawback with dating people at the gym, is like you're gonna have to see that person a lot. You don't want it to be uncomfortable. You don't want it to be awkward if they're not interested. I would recommend going out to more like social things, whether that's like social events, golfing, kind of like community events, fireworks shows, like stuff like that, where like people are kind of like mingling and meant to like meet people, and it's supposed to be more of like a community thing. That's more of what I would recommend, but you can take like the more slow boil process and see if a girl is interested.
That's all crazy enough to work.
Any other girls opposed to that?
I would say eye contact. If you're getting good eye contact and not dirty faces, that's probably a good sign.
Nice.
True.
Yeah, another problem I have is like, so I'm older, 39, and
Oh my gosh, you are so old.
freaking
Whoa.
senior citizen. So, but the problem is like I ride sport bikes, so I'll go to like bike night every once in a while, and like I'm one of the oldest people there, which
fine.
really sucks.
I think that's fine. I think girls typically go for older guys, so it's not, I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, like in your 20s, it's just way too young.
Yeah. Have you tried dating apps?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I did. Those are vile.
Yeah. I did meet, I met my boyfriend off of a dating app, so it worked for me, but I did get catfished right before him, so that was awful. But
Yeah, I did it once and got ghosted, or like I don't know if the term is ghosted, where like you make the plans and they don't even show up. So then I'm like, you know what?
that's awful.
F
Yeah.
it. Deleted it, moved on.
Dating apps are rough, but I would go on one that's more paid, so you know the people are like serious about dating rather than just like trying to hook up or like whatever. So yeah. Anyways, any other fitness related questions? Maybe we could do a whole presentation on how to pick up women at the gym. I'm just kidding. I would not do that.
Or wingman.
Wingman.
I think a wingman would be cool.
Totally.
Hey,
Cool.
Kaylin, I have one. Sorry.
Let's hear it.
I was gonna ask so I have my calorie deficit. I'm
Yes.
not eating up to it. I'll always leave a little buffer because I want to weigh on the more conservative side, assuming that maybe I measured a little off and maybe ate more than I actually put in the calculator. But over the weekend, I realized it was harder to actually meet the calorie just because we're on the run. So then I was missing it by like 300 calories and then another, I don't know, 100, but then I had to quickly run to McDonald's just to meet the calorie versus because I was actually hungry. I wasn't really hungry. But then now today I feel it where I'm like, oh, I feel sick now and I feel like I'm starving. So I don't know if you have any tips on any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, so you don't force yourself to eat ever just to hit a calorie goal, especially if your goal is fat loss. I would really try to focus on your hunger cues, even with tracking and stuff. So your calorie goal is your calorie cap. So that's just something that you don't want to go above. It's not a goal that you have to meet. But however, that being said, like you don't want to undereat every single day consistently. If you kind of undereat once in a while here or there, if you're like not hungry, that's totally fine. But if you're consistently hitting like 1,100 calories for 2 or 3 weeks, then that's not good. That's when we'll want you to like bump up your calories a little bit. However, your calorie cap, you don't have to force yourself to eat just to hit that. as long as you hit your protein goal. Okay, so if you're not hungry, then I would recommend just chugging a protein shake and then adding like 100 calories and then getting an extra 20 grams of protein. And so, yeah, with your calorie goal, that's your calorie cap. I just don't want you going over that. It's okay to undereat every once in a while if you're not hungry, as long as you're hitting your protein goal. That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
With it being fruit season,
Is it fruit season?
and calorie, if you, let's say you kind of are, you're at your calories, or maybe if you go for that extra fruit, you're gonna go over. Is that okay?
No. So fruit still has calories, it has sugar. Even though it's good for you, it's good calories, it's really great. It will cause you to not go in a calorie deficit if you do overeat on calories, whether it's healthy calories or whether it's a cookie. Like, so if you have 100 calories in an orange or 100 calories in a cookie, it's still going to be 100 calories over your goal. And so that's going to cause you to go into more of maintenance rather than a fat loss. So with fruit, I still want you to track that just because it does have sugar and stuff like that in there. It's good for you, but you still need to count that into your total calorie intake for the day. The only thing that I would maybe let slide a little bit would be like a cup of broccoli or something like that. So if you're really hungry, maybe see if you want a cup of broccoli. And if you don't want to eat that, then maybe you're not that hungry, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Not so much a question, but just kind of a recommendation or something that I found recently that works for me. And, as far as nutrition goes, you always hear about these people who eat, chicken and rice. They tell you lost weight, they eat chicken and rice. And, I'm one of those people who like, I eat for nutrition, but like also I need to enjoy the food. Like it's gotta be something I enjoy eating. And, I knew like the macros in chicken were insane for like, protein to calories. You get a ton of protein out of it. And I've put chicken in a lot of stuff, but I've never just really chicken and rice, that sort of thing. But I've recently discovered if I take a chicken breast and I'll do it in like barbecue sauce or like some Asian honey sauce or like just some kind of low calorie, not necessarily like intentionally healthy sauce, but just something to give it a little bit of flavor. The different varieties you can make with just a chicken breast and, like 500 grams or 500 calories and, 50 grams of protein just right there. It's been a game changer for me. So anybody looking for like a low calorie thing to add and they're tired of just plain chicken, try adding like some barbecue sauce or some marinated deer chicken, and it's a game changer.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. And there's a lot of like low calorie barbecue sauces out there too, or like sugar free and stuff like that. So you can really like make it taste really good. It doesn't have to be bland. Seasonings are totally okay as well. So like season your chicken, season your food, make it taste good. So that way you want to eat it a lot, Okay, any last questions, comments, concerns?
Sorry, you just mentioned seasonings. I was just curious about salt intake. Do you care about tracking that, or not necessarily?
No, not necessarily. I think the only way we would ever look into your salt intake is if you're not hitting your water goal consistently. Typically, if you're hitting that 3 to 4 to like 1 full gallon of water, your salt intake won't matter too much unless you're eating like only frozen foods and putting salt on those. Then that can kind of like cause your sodium to spike. Or if you're eating like soups or broths or stuff like that, that is like a little bit higher in sodium, then that could be a reason why your body weight goes up. So like, let's say you have pho one day and then your body weight bumps up 2 pounds. Like obviously you didn't eat 7,000 calories over your maintenance. It's probably that sodium. But if you just drink water the next day, it'll flush out all of that extra like water retention and sodium, and your body weight will drop back down. So if you do notice that, like where there's a random day where your body weight like bumps up and you're like, what the heck just happened? Go look back into your log and see if there was like anything that was like high in sodium that you ate. And then that could be a reason why. But overall sodium intake, typically, no, we don't track that, or we don't do a deep dive into that unless we notice that you are constantly having like high sodium foods consistently over time. And so, or if you're just like not salting your food ever and you're having like a ton of whole foods and foods that are like fresh and you're not getting enough salt, because salt is good for your body. We just want to make sure that we don't have too much and not too little. So we're having that happy medium there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks for your guys' participation. Thanks for coming on. It's fun to see your guys' cute faces. Drop some ideas in the Goal Chasers group of things that you want me to present on, and we'll see if we pick that topic next time. I kind of just pulled this one out of the blue. So if there's anything specific you really want me to present on, make sure to drop that in the Goal Chasers group and I'll add it to the list. Okay. Alrighty. Have a good one.
Sure.